Happy spooky season! It is part 2 of my genre fiction for the zodiac sign series. Last time we did fantasy books, and this time obviously we're doing horror books. Obviously these are just my opinions. If you don't vibe with a book, this is like the most general astrological video you could possibly find. I'm not trying to like reinvent the wheel here. I am not trying to like go deep into anyone's birth charts. This is just for fun. This is focused on your sun sign, but feel free to also check your Mars, which is, you know, like your planet of sex and love and anger and all of that. I feel like that's also kind of appropriate for horror books. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the astrological books that I picked for spooky season. So without further ado, let's bring on Aries. You guys are active, dynamic, you are kind of reckless, you are fierce, and you are so loyal. All of the Aries in my life are like just the most vibrant people I know and so open-hearted. Aries, your book that you get is There's Someone Inside Your House by Stephanie Perkins. The book, not the movie. The movie is terrible. Okay, so this is a slasher, a teen slasher in a book. This girl, Makani, has moved from Hawaii to a small town in the Midwest. She's got some secrets, and her classmates are getting picked off one by one by a murderer. Why did I pick this for Aries? Well, Aries get slashers. I don't know. Like, that just feels like a very Aries thing. And I love the twist on the slasher genre that Stephanie Perkins put into this book. It feels like a fresh book, and I just feel like Aries wants something that's like quick and fun and gory and I don't know, as vibrant and exciting as they are, and that's kind of how I felt reading this book. Next we've got Taurus. You are our first earth sign. You guys are stubborn and tenacious and elegant and creative and dependable, and you have endless patience for all the chaos of the rest of the zodiac. So the book that I picked for you is The Elementals by Michael McDowell. This is about a Southern family, so this is a quintessential Southern Gothic, who go out to their fancy rich person vacation homes after a very bizarre funeral incident. There are 3 homes on this like very vacant stretch of beach, and 2 of them are totally fine, totally habitable, but the third one is slowly getting consumed by a giant pile of sand. And of course, like, obviously there's something in that house. You know where this is going. Y'all are earth signs. It's literally getting consumed by earth. So, sorry. Taurus is like the sign of personal possessions. You like your stuff. You like your stuff to be beautiful. You like your stuff to be special. And this sand is consuming all of your stuff. It's consuming this whole family's stuff. The 2 main characters of this book are very sassy. They're very unique characters that I really enjoyed. It was such a unique piece in general, and it was so thoroughly spooky. Like, this one had me scared of the dark. And it's also like the main character is so stubborn. Like, she doesn't listen to anybody, and she gets herself in so many stupid situations, but they're not even stupid because you can't even blame her. I just feel like you guys will like it and enjoy it, and that's why you get The Elementals. Geminis. I love Geminis. You are the first air sign of the zodiac. You are expressive, endlessly curious, so communicative, full of ideas, but you need your freedom. You are restless. Nobody can tie you down. That's just not your thing. The book that I gave you is like the cult classic of horror books. House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski. So this is a metafiction about a guy who discovers a manuscript that is basically like a dissertation on this documentary film about a family whose house is bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. Us, as readers, are reading the main character's life, the manuscript, which has like editor's notes that get progressively more deranged, and you're also experiencing like the life of this family. Gemini, you are the sign of self-expression, and this is absolutely the most like self-expressive book I have ever read. It is so unique and so ridiculous, and there's something about this monster that's in this book that feels like it's bleeding over into your actual life, like actual reality. It's just very bizarrely terrifying, and it's almost boring and tedious, but it's still horrifying as it is tedious. It's the most bizarre thing I've ever read. I just feel like you Geminis will vibe with the challenge and how constant you have to like shift the way that you're reading while you read this book. It's just chaotic. I don't know. Geminis are just generally chaotic in my opinion. I just feel like out of anyone in the signs, you just grasp things so quickly. I think you'll enjoy this process. Then we've got Cancer. You guys are nurturers. You are loyal to a fault. You are little marshmallows. You prize your security, but you love your adventure. You're gentle and sympathetic, but you also can be like very standoffish. You are just a thoroughly like an emotional sign in the best way. The book that I picked for you is Book of Accidents by Chuck Wendig. This is like the most uplifting horror book I have ever read. So this is following a family who moves back into the dad of the family's childhood home and basically have to deal with like some apocalyptic dark magic stuff. That's like a really short rundown of it. I don't actually want to give you too much about it because I feel like the more you know about this book, the less fun it is to read. This book is about familial love and support. It really focuses on the relationships between the characters. It is weird and heady and honestly reads almost more like a fantasy than it does a horror, even though it's definitely creepy and like has all the best things about horror. You little marshmallows get the book about love. That's just how it is. We're back to the fire signs. Leo. You guys are the star in the sky. You are the center of attention. Everything is dramatic and theatrical. You are witty. You are a born entertainer. You are electric when you walk into a room. Your book is Imaginary Friend by Stephen Chbosky. This is one of my favorite horrors that I've read. This is about a single mom and her son who escape an abusive relationship and go and live in a small town. And they do really well there right up until Christopher, the son, just disappears for a week. He comes back totally fine, totally unharmed, but he can't remember a single thing that happened. And he has a voice in his head that's telling him he has to build a tree house in the woods by Christmas or everyone in the town is basically going to die. This book is just like kind of epic. It's definitely an homage to Stephen King, and it's like all the best things about Stephen King that I really like without all of the worst things about Stephen King that I really don't like. It has a huge cast of characters who you slowly get to know, so it doesn't feel super overwhelming, and it tackles some really big themes. It's tackling pride and religion. It's about family, so it kind of appeals to that Leo loyalty. It's just huge. Like it feels just like a big epic book, and I just think that suits our big epic Leos. So Imaginary Friend by Stephen Chbosky. Also, this book genuinely scared me. I was so wrapped up in this book. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. Virgos, you're next. You are the sign of work and self-improvement. You are ambitious. You're not prudish, but you like things that are pure of purpose. You're trying to make things better. You like improving things. You're intelligent, analytical, clear thinking, all those good, lovely things that us air signs especially need in our life. The book that I have for you, Virgos, is House of Dust by Noah Broyles. So this is a modern Southern Gothic about a true crime reporter and a prostitute who move into an abandoned plantation house to kind of get away from their lives, but things are not really as they seem in this sleepy town and things get freaking weird. You're an earth sign. Dirt and earth are a huge aspect of this book, so like, sorry, I'm not creative. If you are an earth sign, you get stuff that's about dirt. But this book is about these characters trying to improve themselves and make their lives better. That is why they are here in the first place. I also think Virgos will vibe with like the true crime style of this book. It is written in a very like journalistic way almost, and is structured in the way that like a true crime mystery often unfolds. It's very enticing, and I just think you will like the way that it's structured. There's something about it, you really have to be okay with being confused for a good chunk of it. Like probably 40+% of this book, you do not know what's going on. I really enjoy that, and I think the unraveling of the mystery will just suit the Virgo's brain. Okay, Libras. So you guys are the sign of partnership. You're very easy to like, very charming. You love your loveliness. You're a great listener. The downfall is that sometimes you can stifle your own feelings to keep the peace. You're sometimes indecisive. You don't trust your instincts. Yeah, I kind of had a hard time picking one for Libras, but I settled on The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. This is about Eleanor, Theo, and Luke, who all arrive at Hill House to help Dr. Montague basically look for evidence of a haunting. Libras, you're all about balance. That's your thing. Your sign is literally a scale. This book is about that personal balance. And definitely like the whole not trusting your own instincts and keeping the peace at the sake of yourself is Eleanor. Like that is her biggest issue. This book is really about Eleanor trying to find her balance one way or another, and it is super creepy and well written, but it really does play with that idea of balance in a way that I think Libras will appreciate and maybe resonate with. Okay, Scorpios, you guys are next. You guys are intense. There's no such thing as a pastel Scorpio. You do everything 110%. You're dedicated, energetic, competitive, very adaptable. You don't often trust your heart to others, but when you do, you love very deeply. You're just generally very passionate. The book that I picked for you is my new favorite horror right now, and that is It Will Just Be Us by Jo Kaplan. This is a gothic novel set in a haunted house that is full of familiar ghosts that reflect the past of the house. So like the ghosts are essentially memories from the past. Sam is our main character, and she begins to see a new ghost among all of these familiar faces, a faceless boy who progressively enacts more and more disturbing things as the story goes forward. Scorpios are intense, and you are also the sign of legacies. That was an interesting thing I discovered in my research. This book is about ancestral legacies at its core. Nothing is done halfway, and the idealism of this main character, this passion that like she is doing the right thing, she is doing everything in her power to do the right thing, to be in control. I just think that Scorpios will thoroughly enjoy like the intensity of this and the conversation that's being had about human nature. I just think you'll like it. I just think if you like horror books, you should read this book, but Scorpios, I think you'll like it especially. Sagittarians, you are the sign of higher thinking. You are cheerful, optimistic. You're those people that like we look at and it just looks like everything is easy for them. Like they just have it all figured out somehow. You love in like a no strings attached way, but you love very deeply. You just can't be tied down. So the book I picked for you is Summer Suns by Lee Mandello. This is, again, a modern Southern Gothic following Andrew, whose best friend Eddie dies of an apparent suicide while he is at university. And so Andrew goes to this university to try to uncover the mystery while a literal ghost is like on its way to possessing him, basically. First off, you're the sign of higher thinking. This is set in a university, this is set in academia, so like it felt like an appropriate choice. And you guys just love your friends so incredibly much. And I think Andrew just, he loves Eddie. This book is about friendship and that stubborn need to set things right and that importance of like trust and truthfulness, which is like a big Sagittarian thing. I just think you'll like it and you'll like the themes that it brings up, and the actual structure of the book will probably appeal to you. Capricorns, you are next. You are our last earth sign of the zodiac. You are ambitious, determined, patient. You depend on yourself. You don't worry about anyone else. And you very much don't like ambiguity. You want things to be structured in a certain way. The book that I gave you, Capricorn, is Ring Shout by P.D.L.E. Clark. So this is a horror novella where the KKK are literal demons with a plan to unleash hell on earth. And our main character and her friends are demon hunters, and they're off to stop the hate from spreading. Capricorns, again, you're steady, creative, practical. You like improving things, and at its core, obviously, this book is about improving things. Like, this book is about improving the world and is definitely commenting on things that are very pertinent, unfortunately, right now. It also has some of the most disgusting body horror that I have ever experienced, like in the best way. It's just really chaotic and vibrant and colorful and unique in a way that I think you will appreciate. I know I said you don't like ambiguity, and while this book is chaotic, it's not structured in a way that's ambiguous, and the main character is definitely not ambiguous. She is very practical and focused and like trying to do this one thing. It all gets right to the point. It's short and sweet. It moves really quickly while you're still immersing yourself in this remarkably expansive world for a book that's like a little over 100 pages long. I just think you'll like it. I just think you'll like it. That's what I got. Aquarians, I'm a little Aquarian. And for this one, I did not pick a book finally, from my reading Aquarius books video. I picked a different one. So if you watch that video, you have not experienced me talking about this book yet. Aquarians, you're a weirdo. That's like always the first thing everyone says is you're the weirdos. I mean, I literally have blue hair. You're very humanitarian, you're very intelligent, also a very no strings attached kind of lover. You care very deeply about the people that you care about. It's just independence is too important to give up for you. The book I picked for you Aquarians, for me Aquarians, is Plain Bad Heroines by Emily Danforth. This is a weird little book. And when I say little, I mean big, because it's like 600 pages. We're following a group of filmmakers who are moving into a haunted boarding school to film an adaptation of an incident at this school about 100 years earlier where 2 girls were killed by a bunch of wasps after reading the legendary and actually real memoir, The Story of Mary McLean, which is about a young girl's experience as a bisexual woman. So this is, again, another metafiction book, and it's just weird. I went through phases reading this. I loved it, and then I was bored, and then I was annoyed, and then I was confused, and then I loved it again. It is incredibly sapphic, incredibly gothic, and super unsettling. And if you hate wasps as much as I do, you're gonna have a rough time with this book. I can't look at a wasp the same way. I never will ever again. This is a very current read. Again, it's super sapphic, but it also discusses a lot of really prominent literary, like LGBTQ literary fiction, and deals with a lot of different issues that I think appeal to that humanitarian nature of an Aquarius. It's not the weirdest book I've ever read, but it is just kind of bizarre. The whole thing is just kind of confusing, and you never really fully unravel what happens, which might be unsatisfying to some people, but I don't know, I enjoyed it. So if I like it, Aquarians, I don't know, try it out. And our last sign of the zodiac is Pisces. Pisces, you are like the wateriest of water signs, in my opinion. You are subtle and intuitive and sympathetic, very imaginative. You're like that sensitive, perceptive friend who like always knows when something's wrong, you know? The book that I gave you is They Drown Our Daughters by Katrina Monroe. This is another queer modern gothic because that's what I like to read. This is about mermaids. So it's set in the water, literally. This book is about a family curse where mothers are drowned in the ocean outside of the haunted Cape Disappointment. And that's kind of all I'm going to give you for a summary. This book is about generational trauma. And it's also about the relationship between mothers and daughters and all the hurt and the love that go with that. It's very dark and it's very sad and it doesn't pull any punches. Like every time I expected it not to go as far as I thought it might, it just did it and without any preamble, and I really respect that. The atmosphere of this book was absolutely the best part about it. And I wouldn't say that it's particularly scary, but it's definitely unsettling. You're the sign of dreams and self-delusion, and that is like a huge theme that is going through this book, and I just think it's a very sensitive, empathic kind of story, and it was just the right pick for your little Pisces. Go and check out the last installment of the series with fantasy books. It's a fun time, and if you enjoyed this one, you'll probably enjoy that one too. I hope you have a fabulous spooky season. Tell me what you're planning on reading, what horror books you enjoy. I'll see you all next time with my next video. Bye!